good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you get around to this. Give me half a second. Go. And we pick up in the chapter of 20 of the book of the Numbers. And if you don't remember, we picked off where we left off with how to properly purify something and how to purify a person after they've touched a dead body, what to do, and how to go about the process. Tonight, it's going to be however many chapters I can get through, but I would like to go 16 chapters. So it'll probably be me just doing a marathon. We're just going to pick right up. Verse 1. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Sin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron, and the people reviled Moses, saying, would we had died in the destruction of our brethren before the Lord? And wherefore have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness to kill us and our cattle? And wherefore is this? Ye have brought us up out of Egypt, that we should come into this evil place, a place where there is no sowing, neither figs, nor vines, nor pomegranates, neither is there water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of witness, and they fell upon their faces. Let me just keep reading, and let me read the verse 10, then I'm going to break something down. And the Lord spoke to Moses. Whoa. And they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take thy rod and call the assembly, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye to the rock before them, and it shall give forth its waters, and ye shall bring forth for them water out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their cattle. And Moses took his rod, which was before the Lord, as the Lord commanded. And Moses and Aaron assembled the congregation before the rock, and said to them, hear me, ye disobedient ones. Must we bring you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his rod twice, and much water came forth, and the congregation drank, and their cattle. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because ye have not believed me to sanctify me before the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of strife, because the children of Israel spoke insolently before the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. Stop right there. So what's about to happen is there's about to be a kind of major part. It'll make sense chapters, or we're not chapters, books from now. I'd have to go way back to this. But what just really took place is this, is that the Most High got tired of Aaron and Moses pretty much kowtowing to the people and not doing what he's supposed to. So he's saying, like, you didn't sanctify me. You didn't make it a point to just be like, you know what, hey, let's get the priest, or the people who were supposed to minister to the priest. Let's get them to go out here, and all the men who claim that they're believers, and, obviously smite the congregation and get them to shut up. And it's not because you're supposed to be ruling with an iron fist. It's because you're supposed to remind these people, like, yo, we didn't get this far on accident. It's not by chance we got this far. So first off, it's beyond having a little faith, is be grateful, And they're dealing with such ungrateful people that the Most High is like, you know what? No, you guys don't get to go into the land and then try to correct their wrongdoings. You're not going to be a cushion. You know what I'm saying? You will not be a buffer between the wrath and judgment that they deserve, because that's what they've played this whole time. Now going back to the reading. Verse 14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom, saying, Thus says thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the distress that has come upon us, that has found us, and how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we sojourned into Egypt many days. And the Egyptians afflicted us and our fathers, and we cried to the Lord. And the Lord heard our voice, and sent an angel, and brought us up out of Egypt. And we are now in the city of Kadesh, at the extremity of thy coast. We will pass through thy land. We will not go through the fields, nor through the vineyards, nor will we drink water out of thy cistern. We will go by the king's highway. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said to him, Thou shalt not pass through me, and if otherwise, I will go forth to meet thee in war. And the children of Israel said to him, We will pass by the mountain, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, I will pay thee. But it is no matter of importance. We will go by the mountain. And he said, Thou shalt not pass through me. And Edom went forth to meet him with a great host and a mighty hand. So Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through his borders, and Israel turned away from him and departed from Kadesh. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came to Mount Or. Stop right there. Now, what's going on in this part is a very crucial exchange that comes back later on, prophecies and prophecies and prophecies later, about the poor treatment of their brothers. And this is one of the reasons why the Edomites actually get crushed by the Most High. That reason right there that I just read to you was a serious death knell in the Edomite people's lineage. Did you note how it downplays what it is, what they're saying? But these dudes came out there, catapults, whatever animals that they used in war, everything came out there and was like, y'all ain't coming through here. Because they didn't trust it, because they was like, nah, y'all gonna do something funny. Y'all gonna do something. Nah, bruh. So they showed up already ready, and the Israelites is like, it's all good. We're just gonna turn around and go to Mount Or. In one moment. Verse 23. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in Mount Or on the borders of the land of Edom, saying, Let Aaron be added to his people, for ye shall certainly not go into the land which I have given the children of Israel, because ye provoked me at the water of strife. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to the Mount Or before all the congregation, and take Aaron's apparel from off him, and put it on Eleazar's son, and let Aaron die there and be added to his people. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and took him up to Mount Or before all the congregation. So everybody's watching this happen. And he took Aaron's garments off him and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aaron died on top of the mountain. Now, people can say that Aaron froze to death or whatever, but I believe that the Most High God struck him dead. And he took Aaron's garments off him and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aaron died on top of the mountain. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead. And they wept for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. Now, why this is so important is because you have people who try to contend that they murdered Aaron and that they murdered Moses, right? I can't think of any time in the scripture where somebody actually wanted to kill somebody, right? And then mourn 30 days for him. You know, like I'm trying to think how long. I think old girl only mourned for Urias the Hittite 7 days, right on. I don't think it was a whole month. It could have been a whole month, but I don't remember. It's that's some books from now. So anyway, all I'm saying is that they mourned 30 days for Aaron because they loved him, not because they killed the man or they felt guilty. That's just ridiculous. It's a childish notion, and to give credence to an African book or a book that you don't even know existed. There's no proof that it even exists. To say that that's to be taken more serious than this, I just want you to think about that. Verse 1 of chapter 21. And Arad, the Canaanitish king, who dwelt by the wilderness, heard that Israel came by the way of Atharim. And he made war on Israel and carried off some of them, or made captivity of them. And Israel vowed a vow to the Lord and said, if thou wilt deliver this people into my power, I will devote it and its city to thee. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Israel and delivered the Canaanite into his power. And Israel devoted him and his cities. And they called the name of that place Anathema, or devoted thing. Verse 4. And having departed from Mount Or by the way leading to the Red Sea, they compassed the land of Edom. And the people lost courage by the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses, saying, why is this? Hast thou brought us out of Egypt to slay us in the wilderness? For there is not bread nor water, and our souls loathe this light bread. And the Lord sent among the people deadly serpents. Now listen to this next part. I'm going to break it down. It's going to get deep. And they bit the people, and much of the children of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray therefore to the Lord, and let him take away the serpent from us. And Moses prayed to the Lord for the people. And the Lord said to Moses, make thee a serpent, and put it on a signal staff, and it shall come to pass that whenever a serpent shall bite a man, every one so bitten that looks upon it shall live. Stop right there. This is where the brazen serpent, the whole medical, like a lot of people say, oh, this is Egyptian, la la. Look, I can contend that the actual serpent on the pole comes from this moment right here, and that they had a serpent that when people would get bitten by serpents that were out there. And you can't say it's just a regular snake. It's just the term serpent encompasses several different creatures. So it could be some funky looking stuff. It could be something that doesn't actually even look like what you think it is, but it's a serpent. And this serpent is brazen and it's actually, or brass, excuse me, and it's meant to heal the people. Brazen, brass, I was saying. Verse 10, and the children of Israel departed, and the children of Israel departed and encamped in Abath. And having departed from Abath, they encamped in Akulgai on the farther side in the wilderness, which is opposite Moab, toward the east. And thence they departed and encamped in the valley of Zared, or Zered. And they departed thence and encamped on the other side of Arnon in the wilderness, the country which extends from the coast of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites, or Amorite. Therefore, it is said in a book, I don't know what book, but a book, a war of the Lord has set a fire on Zub and the brooks of Arnon, and he has pointed the brooks to cause to dwell there, and it lies near the coast of Moab. And I don't know what book that is, but that's written in a book somewhere. And thence they came to the well. This is the well of which the Lord said to Moses, gather the people, and I will give them water to drink. Then Israel sang this song at the well. Begin to sing, one moment, the well of it, or the well for it, of the well, the princes digged it, and the kings of nations and their kingdom and their lordship sank in it the rock. And they went from the well to Mathanian. Now stop right there. What just took place was there's a lot of moving around. We could say it's to feed the people, do this, that, the other. We could also say it's to avoid fights that they just don't want to get in. What is very interesting is that they get to this well, they get all happy, and then the people of the nation come out there, dig a way through it, right? Because they know where the water's coming from, and then they just throw a rock down there, cut off all the water. Then they have to move, and they go to Mathanaim. There we go. And from Mathanaim to Naliel, and from Naliel to Bamath, and from Banath to Janin, or Jane, or Janeh. But the reading is uncertain. It says it's simple. Which is in the plain of Moab, as seen from the top of the quarried rock that looks toward the wilderness. And Moses sent ambassadors to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, with peaceable words, saying, we will pass through thy land. We will go through by the road. We will not turn aside to the field or to the vineyard. We will not drink the water out of thy well. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed thy boundaries. And now listen, realize that where the Amorites are at, they can actually dig for water. You know what I'm saying? They have the ability to make wells, whereas the Edomites didn't have that. It didn't sound like that. They had cisterns, so they had devices to hold water, as opposed to a natural way to go and collect water at their own will. And I just wanted to throw that out there because that does matter. I'm just trying to give the geography a better understanding. Verse 20. And Moses sent ambassadors to Sihon, king of the Amorites, with peaceable words, saying, we will pass through the land. We will go by the road. We will not turn aside to the field or to the vineyard. We will not drink water out of thy well. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed thy boundaries. And Sihon did not allow Israel to pass through his borders. And Sihon gathered all his people and went out to set the battle in array against Israel into the wilderness. Now, I'm going to say, I don't know if Moses is going to try to pull a fast one or a slick one if anybody lets him come through. I don't know. But I just have to say that he has enough sense to not want to fight certain groups. Right on. Like the Edomites, he wanted nothing to do with them. But these other cats, he's not even tripping. Just think about that. You know, the people aren't even tripping. It's way different. So, and we can't say that the Edomites or the children of Edom had become genetic freaks in nature at that point. We don't know that. They were just super duper, tough. They were some real men of might, some real men of war. So, nobody wanted to go that route. Now let's go ahead and just keep reading. And he came to Jassah, and set battle in array against Israel. Verse 24. And Israel smote him with the slaughter of the sword, and they became possessors of the land from Arnon to Jabbok, as far as the children of Ammon. For Jazer is the borders of the children of Ammon. And Israel took all their cities, and Israel dwelt in the cities of the Amorites in Esabon, and in all the cities belonging to it. For Esabon is the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites. And he before fought against the king of Moab, and they took all his land from Erer to Arnon. Therefore, say they who deal in dark speeches, come to Esabon, that the city of Sihon may be built and prepared. For a fire has gone forth from Esabon, a flame from the city of Sihon, and has consumed as far as Moab, and devoured the pillars of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art lost, thou people of Chamos. Their sons are sold for preservation, and their daughters are captives to Sihon, king of the Amorites. And their seed shall perish from Esabon to Dibon, and their women have yet kindled a fire against Moab. So stop right there. It's deep because once again, this is all a family affair, right? Reading about Ammon and Moab. Now, what I think is most, telling about the story is that the Amorite chased off the Moabites, and that a certain people of them, their sons were sold, and their daughters pretty much were kept. And these guys bred with their daughters, these Amorites, and they're saying that, now you guys are pretty much nobody because none of their children are from, right, the father's seed. So none of these people are your people. It's how fast it happens, y'all. Verse 31. And it says, and their women, give me 1 second, verse 30. This is this last part of it. And their women have yet farther kindled a fire against Moab. I'm assuming that it has to be talking about the Amorites. You know what I'm saying? Because the Moabites are the people that got ran off from the land. So it doesn't make sense to say that in tandem, but it makes it to say it that the women of the Amorites, they kindled a fire, against Moab. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's over. Unless they're saying that their women are traitors. I don't want to say that because that's foul and that's real underhanded. That's the only other line of thought, though. Let me go ahead and just keep pushing. Verse 31. And Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites. And Moses sent to spy out Jazer. And they took it and its villages, and cast out the Amorite that dwelt there. And having returned, they went up to the road that leads to Basan. And Og, the king of Basan, went forth to meet him, and all his people to war to Edraim. And the Lord spoke to Moses, fear him not, for I have delivered him and all his people and all his land into thy hands. And thou shalt do to them as thou didst to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Esabon. And he smote him and his sons and all his people, and left none of his to be taken alive, and they inherited his land. Understand what's going on here. People are being wiped out. Okay? They're being wiped out. Whole villages, whole cities are being killed off. If you don't escape, everybody who is here is dying. Steve, ignore these fools in the background if you can hear any nonsense. And the children of Israel verse 1 of chapter 22, departed and encamped on the west of Moab by Jordan towards Jericho. And when Balak, son of Sephor, saw that all Israel did to the Amorite, then Moab feared the people exceedingly, because they were many. And Moab was grieved before or because of the face of the children of Israel. And Moab said to the elders of Madiam. And now Madiam is a child of if I'm not mistaken, of Ishmael. But so once again, all these people are related. They all know each other. And Moab said to the elders of Madiam, now shall this assembly lick up all that are round about us, as a calf would lick up the green herbs of the field. Listen to these guys. Listen to these guys. They sound so soft-hearted. I can't say that they're soft-hearted because clearly the Israelites are smashing dudes to pieces. But like what's going down right now is that they're pretty much saying that these guys are about to just eat up everything. They're about to take everything. Verse 4 in the middle. No, verse 4. I'll just start at the beginning. And Moab said to the elders of Madiam, and these are the people of Moab, talking to the elders, now shall this assembly lick up all that are round about us, as a calf would lick up the green herbs of the field. And Balak, son of Sephor, was king of Moab at that time. And he sent an ambassador to Balaam, the son of Beor, to Pethor, which is on the river of the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, behold, a people is come out of Egypt. And behold, it has covered the face of the earth, and it has encamped close to me. And now come, curse me this people, for it is stronger than we. If we may be able to smite some of them, I will cast them out of the land. For I know that whomsoever thou dost bless, they are blessed, and whomsoever thou dost curse, they are cursed. And the elders of Moab went, and the elders of Madiam, and their divining instruments were in their hands. And they came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balak. And they said to him, and he said to them, tarry here the night, and I will answer you the things which the Lord shall say to me. And the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Now, what's about to happen next is a very critical thing, okay? And I can't stress to you enough that the Moabites are trying to curse the Israelites right now. And this character, Balaam, some kind of prophet, some kind of diviner, right? He has the ability to speak with either, I'm going to say it's the Messiah, but it could very well be the Most High dealing with the man. There's no way of knowing. But I'm going to assume it's the Messiah. I'm going to say it's the Messiah. Here we go. And the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Verse 9. And God came to Balaam and said to him, who are these men with thee? And Balaam said to God, Balak, son of Sephor, king of Moab, sent them to me, saying, behold, a people has come forth out of Egypt and has covered the face of the land and is encamped near me. And now curse it for me, if indeed I shall be able to smite it and cast it out of the land. And God said to Balaam, thou shalt not go with them, neither shalt thou curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose up in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, depart quickly to your Lord God does not permit me to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose and came to Balak and said, Balaam will not come with us. And Balak yet again sent more princes and more honorable than they. And they came, so he sent even more important. So the dudes he sent last time were probably kind of regal. These people he sent this time were even way more regal, way more important. Okay. And Balak yet again sent more princes and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and they said to him, Thus says Balak, the son of Sephor, I beseech thee, delay not to come to me, for I will greatly honor thee, and I will do for thee whatsoever thou shalt say. Come then, curse me this people. Now this is how serious cursing is. This is how serious a curse is. Dude done sent, not his first wave, his second wave of high-level princes, trying to make sure that people can get cursed. And Balaam answered and said to the princes of Balak, if Balak would give me this house full of silver and gold, I shall not be able to go beyond the word of the Lord God. So this is the Most High talking to him, to make it a little or great in my mind. And now do ye also tarry here this night, and I shall know what the Lord will say to me. And God came to Balaam by night. So when it says Lord God, let me go ahead and just caveat real fast. When it says Lord God, I always assume, no matter what they're saying, I always assume they're talking about the Most High. Right now it says God again. You can assume that that's also the Most High. You can interchange that with the Messiah if that makes you more comfortable. And by comfortable, I mean by it's easier to accept that he's dealing with the Messiah than he's dealing with the Most High. People would still call the Messiah God. Where are we at? Verse 19. And now do ye also tarry here this night, and I shall know what the Lord will yet say to me. And God came to Balaam by night and said to him, if these men come to call thee, rise and follow them. Nevertheless, the word which I shall speak to thee, it shalt thou do. Now listen to what Balaam does. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass or donkey and went with the princes of Moab. Wow. Did you hear this? Just got told, hey, if they come to you, bruh, then go ahead and dip out. But you're going to do what I say to do no matter what. And now what has Balaam done? Took matters into his own hands and rolled out. And God was very angry because he went. And the angel of the Lord rose up to withstand him. See, now this is when I start to say that when they say God and then they say the angel of the Lord, the angel, not an angel, I could always assume is the Messiah. And that God in this and that God in this instance is actually, once again, the Most High. You could say you could argue that the Messiah has his own high-level angel that works with him, that is the angel of him, his own personal angel assistant, who goes out and does his bidding. Never know. But I'm always going to presume that the angel of the Lord is the Messiah. Going forth. Now he had mounted his ass, and his two servants were with him. And when the ass saw the angel of God standing opposite in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, then the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass with his staff to direct her in the way. And the angel of the Lord stood in the avenues of the vines, a fence being on this side and a fence on that. When the ass saw the angel of God, she thrust herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and came and stood in a narrow place where it is impossible to turn right or to turn to the right or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of God, she lay down or sat down under Balaam. And Balaam was angry and struck the ass with his staff. And God opened the mouth of the ass. And she says to Balaam, now follow this part. Why this dude wasn't freaked out that an animal starts talking to him, I have no idea. Okay? But he's so angry. He literally converses with this animal the moment she starts talking. And she says, what have I done to thee that thou hast smitten me this third time? Verse 29. And Balaam said to the ass, because thou hast mocked me, and if I had a sword in my hand, I would now have killed thee. He's hot. And the ass says to Balaam, am I not thine ass, on which thou hast ridden since thy youth till this day? Did I ever do thus to thee, utterly disregarding thee? And he said, no. And God opened the eyes of Balaam, and he sees the angel of the Lord withstanding him in the way. Now note, the only thing that has to be open of the donkey is the donkey's mouth. So frequency. And the donkey's eyes already has the capability to see the frequency of the angel. Balaam's eyes have to be open so he can see the angel's frequency. Thank you very much. And God opened, verse 31, and God opened the eyes of Balaam, and he sees the angel of the Lord withstanding him in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he stooped down and worshipped on his face. And the angel of God said to him, why hast thou smitten why hast thou smitten thine ass this third time? So now he's kind of checking, bro. Like, why did you do that this third time? Right? Since you Mr. Get Bad, right? Since you Mr. Get Bad, right? If you had a sword, which you would have done, Mr. Get Bad, okay? Now listen to what he's saying to him. Based on how Balaam is talking, listen to what he tells Balaam. And the angel of God said to him, why hast thou smitten thine ass this third time? And behold, I came out to withstand thee, for thy way was not seemly before me. And when the ass saw me, she turned away from me this third time. And if she had not turned out of the way, surely now I would have slain thee and should have saved her alive. That's cold. That is just right down the middle. Like, bro, I'd have got you up out of here, dude, had it not been for this donkey. So you need to be grateful. And Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I did not know that thou wert standing opposite in the way to meet me. And now, if it shall not be pleasing to thee for me to go on, I will return. And the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, go with the men. Nevertheless, the word which I shall speak to thee, that thou shalt take heed to speak. And Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him to a city of Moab, which is on the borders of Arnon, which is on the extreme part of the borders. And Balak said, and this is where the people are at, close to it. And Balak said to Balaam, did I not send to thee to call thee? Why hast thou not come to me? Shall I not indeed be able to honor thee? He's like, bro, what took so long? You know I'm going to take care of you, right? And Balaam said to Balak, behold, I am now come to thee. Shall I be able to say anything? And he's like, I mean, can I say anything? Can I get a piece in? Right, you going to just, right, can I say something? And so, this is what's said. The word which God shall put into my mouth, that I shall speak. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came to the cities, or cities of villages, of streets. And Balak offered sheep and calves, and sent to Balaam and to his princes who were with him. And it was morning, and Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the pillar of Baal, and shewed him thence a part of the people. And Balaam said to Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 calves and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam told him, and he offered up a calf and a ram on every altar. And Balaam said to Balak, stand by the sacrifice, and I will go and see if God will appear to me, or appear to me in meeting, and meet me. And the word which he shall shew me, I will report to thee. And Balak stood by his sacrifice. And Balaam went to inquire of God. And he went straight forward. And God appeared to Balaam. And Balaam said to him, I have prepared the 7 altars, and have offered a calf and a ram on every altar. And God put a word into the mouth of Balaam, and said, thou shalt return to Balak, and thus shalt thou speak. And he returned to him. And moreover, he stood over his whole burnt offering, and all the princes of Moab with him, and the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balak, king of Moab, sent for me out of Mesopotamia, out of the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse me, Jacob, and come, call for me a curse upon Israel. Note where the man came from, Mesopotamia. How can I curse whom the Lord curses not? Or how can I devote whom God devotes not? For from the top of the mountains I shall see him, and from the hills I shall observe him. Behold, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who has exactly calculated the seed of Jacob? And who shall number the families of Israel? Let my soul die with the souls of the righteous, and let my seed be as their seed. Did you hear that? He's pretty much saying, if he's saying, like, look, the Israelites are going to come through here. They're going to smash. Nobody's going to be able to count how many people they are. Nobody's going to know exactly how many they are. And he's saying, let me die with the righteous and my seed as well. So he's saying, of all the righteous people who are going to die, he's like, let me die with them. He's like, I don't want to live. I don't want to go. I don't want to be here when they get here. He's like, because I already know what's going to happen. Dude already knows, bro already knows it's up. So he knows it's about to go down. And he knows that at this point, you know, he would rather his children die. He would rather his daughters die. He just doesn't want them to become, understand, if these dudes breed with if the children of Israel's men take on any of the daughters of these people who they completely conquer, and those women only make children and they learn and they become and they grow up to become Israelites, and that's all they know. They look just like everybody else. They're Israelites. That's the end of your culture. That's the end of whoever you were, just like that. So he was like, nah, my family's not getting bred in like that. I'd rather just die. And Balak said to Balaam, what hast thou done to me? I called thee to curse my enemies, and behold, thou hast greatly blessed them. And Balaam said to Balak, whatsoever the Lord shall put into my mouth, Shall I not take heed to speak this? And Balak said to him, Come yet with me to another place where thou shalt not see the people, or him or it. He's talking about the children of Israel, but only shall see a part of them, and shalt not see them all, and curse them from thence. So he's saying, like, maybe you'll curse them if you see less people, right? Right? Maybe your heart's not in it. You're seeing too many people right now. I get it. You're still afraid. He's like, we're going to assuage that. We're going to make it to where you see even less people, right? And maybe then you'll be ready. Verse 14, and he took him to a high place of the field on the top of the quarried rock. And he built there 7 altars and offered a calf and a ram on every altar. And Balaam said to Balak, Stand by thy sacrifice, and I will inquire of God. And God met Balaam and put a word into his mouth and said, Return to Balak, and thus shalt thou speak. And he returned to him, and he was standing by the whole burnt sacrifice, and all the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said to him, What has the Lord spoken? And he took up his parable and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear. Hearken as a witness, thou son of Sephor. God is not as man to waver, nor as the son of man to be threatened. Shall he say and not perform? Shall he speak and not keep his word? Behold, I have received commandment to bless. I will bless and not turn back. There shall not be trouble in Jacob, neither shall sorrow be seen in Israel. The Lord, his God, is with him. The glory of rulers are in him. It was God who brought him out of Egypt. He has it as it were the glory of a unicorn. For there is no divination in Jacob or against Jacob, nor enchantment in Israel or against Israel. In season it shall be told to Jacob and Israel, what God or what shall God perform, or what God shall perform. Behold, verse 24, behold, the people shall rise up as a lion's whelp, and shall exalt himself as a lion. He shall not lie down till he have eaten the prey, and he shall drink the blood of the slain. Stop right there. Several really important things were just said. One of the most important things is that it says that whatever the Most High God puts into frequency will eventually come to pass. The also really epic thing is that if you note that the sacrifices are done they're completed on seven altars representing the 7 days of the week, right? And they're done using a ram and a calf. So these are the greater of the livestock, and I'm assuming that. I mean, I can't say for sure that they're without blemish and all that, but if he's getting the Most High to speak to him, if he's getting the Messiah to speak to him, he has to be doing the sacrifice the right way. Having said that, did you guys notice that it says that he has it as it were the glory of a unicorn? Now, why people think that this is so important or not important? So why would you talk about a unicorn if they just never existed, never real, ever? Clearly, they were at one time a real animal. And another thing, lions don't only exist in Africa. It's the common belief that the people who took over the lands, who now live in these places where the children of Israel used to live, killed off many of those animals, and they migrated to other places. Okay. When they weren't killed off because they realized what the people were up to. Having said that, the reason why I say this is because there's nowhere in Africa that geographically supports this locale. So I just want to throw that out there. This has to be what you would call the Middle East. Where are we at? Verse 25. And Balak said to Balaam, neither curse the people him at all for me, nor bless them at all. And Balaam answered and said to Balak, spoke I not to thee, saying, whatsoever thing God shall speak to me, that I will do? And Balak said to Balaam, come, and I will remove thee to another place. If it shall please God, and curse me them from thence. And Balak took Balaam to the top of Phagor, which extends to the wilderness. And Balaam said to Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 calves and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam told him, and offered a calf and a ram on every altar. Chapter 24, I want to say. And when Balaam saw that it pleased God to bless Israel, he did not go according to his custom to meet the omens, but turned his face toward the wilderness. So apparently the omens come upon him and they tell him what's going on. That's deep. That's deep. But turned his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes and seized Israel encamped by their tribes. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, son of Beor, says, the man who sees truly says. He says, he who hears the oracle of the mighty one, who saw a vision of God in sleep, his eyes were open. How goodly are thy habitations, Jacob, and thy tents, Israel, as shady groves, and as gardens by a river, and as tents which God pitched, and as cedars by the waters. There shall come a man out of his seed, and he shall rule over many nations, and the kingdom of God shall be exalted, and his kingdom shall be increased. God led him out of Egypt. God led him out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the glory of a unicorn. He shall consume the nations of his enemies, and he shall drain their marrow. And with his darts he shall shoot through the enemy. He lay down, he rested as a lion, and as a young lion, who shall stir him up? They that bless thee are blessed, and they that curse thee are cursed. And Balak was angry with Balaam, and clapped his hands together. And Balak said to Balaam, I called thee to curse my enemy, and behold, thou hast decidedly blessed him this 3rd time. Now therefore, flee to thy place. I said, I will honor thee, but now the Lord has deprived thee of glory. And Balaam said to Balak, did I not speak to thy messenger also, whom thou sentest to me, saying, if Balak should give me his house full of silver and gold, I shall not be able to transgress or go beyond the word of the Lord to make it good or bad by myself? Whatsoever things God shall say, them will I speak. And now, behold, I return to my place. Come, I will advise thee of what this people shall do to thy people in the last days. Verse 15. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, says, the man who sees, truly sees, hearing the oracle of God, receiving knowledge or knowing knowledge from the Most High, and having seen a vision of God in sleep, and his eyes were opened or unveiled. I will point to him, but not now. I bless him, but he draws not near. a star shall rise out of Jacob, a man shall spring out of Israel, and shall crush the princes of Moab. A star shall rise out of Jacob, a man shall spring out of Israel, and shall crush the princes of Moab, and shall spoil all the sons of Seth. And Edom shall be an inheritance, and Esau, his enemy, shall be an inheritance of Israel. And Israel wrought valiantly. And one shall arise out of Jacob, and destroy out of the city him that escapes. And having seen Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek is the first of the nations, yet his seed shall perish. And having seen the Kenite, he took up his parable and said, thy dwelling place is strong, yet thou shouldest put thy nest in a rock. And though Beor should have a skillfully contrived hiding place. By skillfully, the word is nest of cunning, contrived hiding place, the Assyrians shall carry thee away captive. And he looked upon Og and took up his parable and said, oh, who shall live when God shall do these things? And by the word doer, put these things. And one shall come forth out of the hands of the Scythians, and shall afflict Assur, and shall afflict the Hebrews, or men of Eber. And I wanted to just do a quick little caveat right there. In the Genesis, it says the passers. You could say that if you wanted to combine it, it's the passing men of Eber, but still you have to be a son of Eber in order for you to be a Hebrew, now they're trying to say, right? But Eber is not the only son of Sem. He's not the only son of Seth, okay? The Elamites are other people. Assur is a son of Seth, right on? And this is not, and once again, this is not the Assur that is born 2 generations after Abraham. This is the Assur that is born from Sem. And the Assyrians come from not that Assur, but the Assur that is born from Abraham. Whew, there we go. And one shall come forth from the hands of the Scythians, and shall afflict Assur, and shall afflict the Hebrews, and they shall perish together, and they shall perish together. And Balaam rose up and departed and returned to his place, and Balak went to his own home. Chapter 25, verse 1. And Israel sojourned in. I have to do a little thing real quick. It's amazing that people get to hear men of Eber. Now we have to understand, to Eber were born 2 sons. Peleg, right on, right? And Joktan. So if we're not going to acknowledge Joktan, it's not wise to acknowledge Peleg. But those are his 2 sons. And I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to represent that in my understanding, so that way, when it says that, these are other people, or these are specific groups of the children of Seth who are going to get messed up. Verse 1 of chapter 25. And Israel sojourned in Satin, and the people profaned itself, or to begin and to profane, by go a whoring after the daughters of Moab. And they called them to the sacrifices of their idols. And the people ate of their sacrifices and worshiped their idols. And Israel consecrated themselves to Baal Fagor. And the Lord was very angry with Israel. And the Lord spoke to Moses. And the Lord said to Moses, take all the princes of the people and make them examples, or put them to shame, make them examples of judgment for the Lord in the face of the sun, and the anger of the Lord shall be turned away from Israel. And Moses said to the tribes of Israel, slay ye every one his friend that is consecrated to Baal Fagor. And behold, a man of the children of Israel came and brought his brother to a Midianitish woman before Moses. And behold, a man of the children of Israel came and brought his brother to a Midianitish woman before Moses, and before all the congregation of the children of Israel. And they were weeping at the door of the tabernacle of witness. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, and rose out of the midst of the congregation, and took a javelin or a dagger in his hand, and went in after the Israelitish man. Note that he called him Israelitish. And to the chamber, or to the furnace, and pierced them both through, and pierced them both through, both the Israelitish man and the woman through her womb. And the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. And those who died in the plague were 420,000. So 24,000 people died. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has caused my wrath to cease from the children of Israel, when I was exceedingly jealous among them, or with or against them. I did not consume the children of Israel in my jealousy. Thus do thou say to him, behold, I give to him a covenant of peace, and he and his seed after him shall have a perpetual covenant of priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made atonement for the children of Israel. Now, the name of the smitten Israelitish man who was smitten with the Midianitish woman was Zombri, son of Salmon, prince of the house of the tribe of Simeon. So his father was a prince, and he was the son of a prince. And I'm not going to say that his mother was a Midianite, but that's a strong possibility. Where was I just at? And the name of the Midianitish woman who was smitten was Chospi. Their names kind of even match. Daughter of Sur, a prince of the nation of Omath. It is a chief house among the people of Madian. So he's a dude who's a son of a prince he was trying to, talk to a chick who's supposed to be high up. These dudes just killed somebody who's a somebody in another house. Doesn't even care. Pfft, get him out of here. Next. Verse 16. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, plague the Midianites as enemies, and smite them, for they are enemies to you by the treachery wherein they ensnare you through Fagor, and through Chaspi their sister, daughter of a prince of Madian, who was smitten in the day of the plague because of Fagor. And it came to pass, chapter 26, verse 1, and it came to pass after the plague that the Lord spoke to Moses and Eleazar, the priest, saying, take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, from 20 years old and upward, according to the house of their lineage, or of their fathers' families. Everyone that goes forth to battle in Israel, or to set himself in array. And Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke in Arabah of Moab at Jordan by Jericho, saying, "This is the numbering from 20 years old upward, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the sons of Israel that came out of Egypt are follows. Reuben was the firstborn, and the sons of Reuben, the family of Enoch, to Phalu belongs the family of the Phaluites, and to Arson the family of our of and to Asran the family of Asrani, to Carmi the family of Carmi. These are the families of Reuben, and their numbering was 43,730. And the sons of Palu were Eliab, and the sons of Eliab, Namuel, and Dathan, and Abiram. These were renowned men of the congregation. These are they that rose against Moses and Aaron in their gathering in Korah, in the rebellion against the Lord. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up them and Korah when their assembly perished, when the fire devoured 250, and they were made a sign, or for a sign. But the sons of Korah died not. Stop right there. So we're getting to hear that the sons of Eliab, Namuel, Dathan, and Abiram, those guys were famous, and that these are three of the people who got ate up by the earth when they were set tripping. Talking about, is it no little thing? Verse 12, and the sons of Simeon, the family of the sons of Simeon, to Namuel belong the family of the Namuelites. One moment. Trying to make sure that I'm not tripping. No, okay, I'm not tripping. To Namuel belonged the family of the Namuelites. To Jamin, the family of the Jaminites. To Jakin, the family of the Jakinites. To Zara, the family of the Zaraites. To Saul, the family of the Saulites. These are the families of Simeon, according to their number, 220,200. Now, why I want to really point this out is because if you get to hear this, is that each clan, depending on how big they are, they have their own clan name. But each of these guys go under the general banister or umbrella of the greater family name. These are the families of Simeon, according to their number, 220,200. And the sons of Judah, and Anun. And and Anun died in the land of Canaan. And these were the sons of Judah, according to their family. To Selam belonged the family of the Selonites, and to Paris, the family of the Parasites, or Pharesites. To Zara, the family of Zarites, and to the sons of Phares were to Ashron, the family of the Ashronites, and to Jamun, the family of the Jamunites. These are the families of Judah, according to their numbers, 76,500. And the sons of Issachar, according to their families, to Tola. Tola, the family of the Tolites. To Pua, the family of the Puites. To Jasub, the family of the Jasubites. To Samram, the family of the Samramites. Samramites. These are the families of Issachar, according to their number, 64,400. And the sons of Zabulon, according to their families, to Sared, the family of the Saradites, and to Alan, the family of the Alanites, and to Alel, the family of the Elalites. These are the families of Zabulon, according to their number, 60,500. The sons of Gad, according to their families, to Saphan, the family of the Saphanites, to Agni, to Angi, Anji, the family of the Anjites. To Suni, the family of the Sunites. To Azini, the family of the Azanites. To Adi, the family of the Adites. To Arodi, the family of the Erodites. To Ariel, the family of the Arielites. These are the families of the children of God, according to their numbering, 44,500. The sons of Aser, according to their families. To Jamin, the family of the Jamanites. To Jesu, the family of the Jesuites. To Berea, the family of the Bariites. To the Bariites. To Chober, to Kober, the family of the Koberites. To Melchiel, the family of the Melchielites. The name of the daughter of Aser, Sarah, or Sarah. These are the families of Aser, according to their number, 43,400. And there's a correction there. It says 600, but we're not going to worry about that. And the sons of Joseph, according to their families, Manas and Ephraim. The sons of Manas, to Makor, the family of the Makorites. And Makor begot Galad, and to Galad, the family of the Galadites. And these are the sons of Galad, to Achiezer, the family of the Achiezerites. To Kaleg, the family of the Kelegites. To Esriel, the family of the Esrielites. To Shechem, the family of the Sychemites. To Simeir, the family of the Simeirites. To Ophir, the family of the Ophirites. To Salpad, the son of Ophir, there were no sons, but daughters. And these were the names of the daughters of Salpad: Mala, and Nua, and Eglah, and Melka, and Tirsah. These are the families of Manas, according to their numbers, 52,700. And there's a correction there. There's a symbol there that says 62,700. But we'll just say 52,000. You can give them another 10,000 if you like. I'm not gonna move about it. Verse 39. And these are the families of Ephraim: to Sutula, the Sutulanites. To Tanakh, the Tanakhites. These are the families of Sutula. To Eden, the family of the Edenites. These are the families of Ephraim, according to their numbers, 32,500. These are the families of the children of Joseph. The sons of Benjamin, according to their families: to Baleh, the family of the Balites. To Asibur, the family of the Asiburites. To Jekaron, the family of the Jekaronites. To Sophon, the family of the Sophonites. And the sons of Baleh were Adar and Noeman. And to Adar, the family of the Ardenites, and to Noeman, the family of the Noemanites. These are the sons of Benjamin by their families, according to their number, 35,500. And the sons of Dan, according to their families: to Sameh, the family of Sameh, the family of the Sameites. These are the families of Dan, according to their families. All the families of Sameh, according to their number, 64,400, or 64,600. The sons of Naphtali, according to their families: to Asiel, the family of the Asielites. To Gani, the family of the Ganites. To Jeser, the family of the Jeserites. To Salam, the family of the Selamites. These are the families of Naphtali, according to their numbering, 40,300. This is the numbering of the children of Israel, 601,730. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, To these the land shall be divided, so that they may inherit according to the number of their names. To the greater number thou shalt give the greater inheritance, and to the lesser thou shalt give the lesser inheritance. To each one as they have been numbered shall their inheritance be given. The land shall be divided by the names, to the names by lot. They shall inherit according to the tribes of their families. They shall divide their inheritance by lot between the many and the few. And the sons of Levi, according to the families, to Getson, the family of the Getsonites, to Koth, the family of the Kothites, to Merari, the family of the Merarites, Merarites. There we go, Merarites. These are the families of the sons of Levi: the family of the Lobanites, the family of the Chebronites, the family of the Korites, and the family of the Musites. And Koth begot Amram, and the name of his wife was Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, who bore these to Levi in Egypt. And she bore to Amram, Aaron, and Moses, and Miriam, their sister. And to Aaron were born both Nadab and Abiud, and Eleazar and Ithamar. And Nadab and Abiud died when they offered strange fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai. And there were, according to their numbering, 23,000, every male from a month old upward. For they were not numbered among the children of Israel, because they have no inheritance in the midst of the children of Israel. Listen to that. 22,000 from a month old upward. They're super little. But they're also blessed because, once again, they've maintained their genetic continuity. So we can't overlook that, and you can't downplay that. That's a very crucial factor. And this is the numbering of Moses and Eleazar the priest, who numbered the children of Israel in Arabath of Moab, at Jordan by Jericho. And among these there was not a man numbered by Moses and Aaron, whom even the children of Israel they numbered in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord said to them, they shall surely die in the wilderness. And there was not left even one of them, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Noah. Now, why that's so important? Oh my goodness. Just went down. Just read about all the different families. We got to hear about all the different little ites, right? Only a couple of E's, right? Why this is so huge is that it just told us that all these people who were numbered at a certain point, at a certain time, when Aaron and those guys numbered them, they all died who were 20 years old and upward. So those 600,000 dudes, gone. This is a brand new, this is a brand new numbering of people. Understand what I'm trying to get at? Right on? They all died. All those people. So it's just letting us know that nobody makes it who is a part of that original part in the wilderness. All those cats eat the dust. Verse 1 of chapter 27. Only 9 more chapters to go. And the daughters of Salpad, the son of Ophir, the sons of Galad, the son of Machir, of the tribe of Manasseh, of the sons of Joseph, came near. And these were their names: Malah, and Nuah, and Eglah, and Melchah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moses, and Eleazar the priest, and before the princes, and before all the congregation at the door of the tabernacle of witness, saying, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the midst of the congregation that rebelled against the Lord in the gathering of Korah, for he died for his own sin, and he had no sons. Let not the name of our father be blotted out in the midst of his people, because he has no son. Give us an inheritance in the midst of our father's brethren. And Moses brought their case before the Lord. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the daughters of Salpad have spoken rightly. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of inheritance in the midst of their father's brethren. And thou shalt assign their father's inheritance to them. And thou shalt speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a man die and have no son, ye shall assign his inheritance to his daughter. And if he have no daughter, ye shall give his inheritance to his brother. And if he have no brethren, ye shall give his inheritance to his father's brother. Okay? Which is his uncle. And if there be no brethren of his father, ye shall give the inheritance to his nearest relation of his tribe, to inherit his possessions. And this shall be to the children of Israel, in an ordinance of judgment, as the Lord commanded Moses. Stop right there. No. Okay, if you only have daughters, okay, you give your daughters everything. If you don't have any daughters, we give it to your brothers. You don't got any brothers? Okay, we're gonna go and look for your father's people. Okay, your father's people got nobody alive. Okay, we're gonna go find somebody and give this to them. It's gonna stay in your tribe. It's always gonna stay like that. This is why you guys see why the Jubilee is so important, being able to reset. Because if you switch your inheritance to another tribe, they don't have to reset that, because that right. Why are they responsible for tracking down something that somebody else didn't keep track of? People are still people, still human nature. You have to apply to all these situations, and that's just the bottom line. Now let's just keep reading, because we're just not getting started. And the Lord spoke to Moses. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's right. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go up to the mountain that is in the country beyond Jordan, this Mount Nabal, and behold the land Canaan, which I give to the sons of Israel for possession. And thou shalt see it, and thou shalt be added to thy people, as Aaron thy brother was added to them in Mount Or, because ye transgressed my commandments in the wilderness of sin, when the congregation resisted and refused to sanctify me. Ye sanctified me not at the water before them." So the Most High God wanted Moses to bust all their heads and then give them water. Right. That was a big deal. And he's like, okay, you're just going to reward them for being stupid. Okay, bro, I got you, Pimpin. Don't worry. That's the last straw. That's the last straw. It's not funny, but it kind of is funny, because it's like, clearly Moses's juice ran out, so to speak. You know, Moses is like, I've had enough. I've had enough. And so here we go. Ye sanctified me not at the water before them. This is the water of strife, in Kadesh, in the wilderness of sin. And Moses said to the Lord, "Let the Lord God of spirits and of all flesh look out for a man over this congregation. Who shall go out before them? And who shall come in before them? And who shall lead them? And who shall lead them out? And who shall bring them in? So the congregation of the Lord shall not be as sheep without a shepherd." And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take to thyself Joshua, the son of Nun, a man who has the Spirit in him, and thou shalt lay thy hands upon him, and thou shalt set him before Eleazar the priest, and thou shalt give him a charge before all the congregation, and thou shalt give a charge concerning him before them. And thou shalt put of thy glory upon him, that the children of Israel may hearken to him. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, and they shall ask of him before the Lord of judgment of the Urim. They shall go forth at his word, and at his word they shall come in, he and the children of Israel with one accord, and all the congregation." And Moses did as the Lord commanded. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him. And he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation. And he laid his hands on him, and appointed him as the Lord ordered Moses. Verse 1 of chapter 28. And just a quick brief little thing. What's going on right now is that they're pretty much like a passing of the torch, but it's really, really deep, because as we can see, it can't just be some young buck who's leading the people. It has to be a leader, right? It doesn't pick Caleb, right? for whatever reason, picks Joshua. I always assume it's just because Joshua was Moses' right-hand man. And because Joshua didn't sin against the people by speaking evil things, it makes most sense to have him do it because he's closest to Moses. He understands how Moses was the best. Out of all the people that are around, who are still around, I should say, he still has the best understanding of Moses. And note that Moses' own children aren't spoken on because a lot of his children aren't tried and true Levites. They're mixed, most of them, probably, if not all of them. So um, what it does is that, I mean, there's probably a chance that he has the children with the Levite woman, but I'm just saying, from what I know, he has children with the woman of Madian, right? The Midianite, and then um, who else? The Ethiopian. He's married to the Ethiopian. Anyway, so you don't hear about his children because it's just that his children are strangers, right? And so the right thing to do is to keep them in the background, out the way. All right, y'all can be in the congregation somewhere chilling, but you can't. You see what I'm saying? You can't do anything, right? Because you're not right. Because you're not the people per se. And so you got to realize how strict Moses would have to have been on himself to have been able to treat his family like that. I mean, man, that's hardcore, at its finest. That's why he's the greatest prophet to ever live. But let me just keep reading. I like this part. Let's start reading about some how to fry how to properly portion flour to your meat. Verse 1 of chapter 28. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, charge the children of Israel, and thou shalt speak to them, saying, ye shall observe to offer me in my feast my gifts, my presents, my burnt offerings, for a sweet smelling savor. And thou shalt say to them, these are the burnt offerings. All that ye shall bring to the Lord, 2 lambs of a year old, without a blemish, daily, for a whole burnt offering perpetually. Thou shalt offer 1 lamb in the morning, and thou shalt offer the second lamb towards the evening. And thou shalt offer the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, with the 4th part of a hin, which is a drink offering. And a hin is like 5 liters. So if it's a 4th part of it, it's like a liter and some change. Where are we at? And the 4th part of a hin to each lamb. In the holy place shalt thou pour strong drink, not just regular drink, but pour strong drink as a drink offering to the Lord. And the second lamb thou shalt offer toward the evening. Thou shalt offer it according to its meat offering and according to its drink offering, for a smell of sweet savor to the Lord. And on the Sabbath day ye shall offer 2 lambs of a year old without blemish, 2/10 dill of fine flour mingled with oil, for a meat offering and a drink offering. It is a whole burnt offering of the Sabbaths on the Sabbath days, besides the continued whole burnt offering and its drink offering. And at the new moons ye shall bring a whole burnt offering to the Lord, 2 calves of the herd, 1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old without blemish, 3/10 of fine flour mingled with oil for 1 calf, 2/10 dill of fine flour mingled with oil for 1 ram, and a 10th dill of fine flour mingled with oil for each lamb, as a meat offering, a sweet smelling savor, A burnt offering. This seems to be the general meaning of something. I don't know. It's not in English. It's a syllable, so I don't know what it is. Burnt offering to the Lord. Their drink offering shall be half of a hin for one calf, a third of a hin for one ram, and the fourth part of a hin of wine for one lamb. This is the whole burnt offering, monthly throughout the months of the year. He shall offer one kid of the goats for a sin offering to the Lord. It shall be offered besides the continual whole burnt offering and its drink offering. And in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, is the Passover to the Lord. On the 15th day of this month is feast. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. On the first day, the first day shall be to you a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall bring whole burnt offerings, a sacrifice to the Lord, 2 calves of the herd, one ram, 7 lambs of a year old. They shall be to you without blemish, and their meat offering shall be fine flour mingled with oil, 3 tenths fine flour mingled with oil, 3 tenths, excuse me, 3 tenths dill for one calf, 2 tenths dill for one ram, and thou shalt offer a tenth for each lamb for the 7 lambs. And thou shalt offer one kid of the goats for a sin offering to make atonement for you. And beside the perpetual whole burnt offering in the morning, which is a whole burnt sacrifice for a continuance, these shall ye thus offer daily for 7 days, or 2 days, it says Alexandrian, a gift and sacrifice for a sweet smelling savor to the Lord. Now, it's about to get real repetitious. Just write it out, y'all. We're almost done. After this, only 7 more chapters after this, and then we're done with the book of the Numbers. And really, if you guys don't understand what's going on, just real quick, it's a calf, right? So you can say, oh, they have the bread, they're cooking bread with it. I could contend that they're not cooking bread with some of these offerings. I could contend that they're covering this offering with the flour that's mingled with oil and pretty much frying the meat. Just something to think about. Um, because these are different kinds of sacrifices. Note that different types of sacrifices ask for different things, but there's a perpetual everyday ordinance. Okay, every day, one lamb in the morning, one lamb at night. This is talking about the Passover, and it's saying for 7 days they're going to offer this type of offering, even though it says there for the Grecian understanding it says 2 days. We're not going to worry about that. What we want to worry about is that who's ever cooked something and it smelled good? The sweet smelling savor is the aroma that good food creates. We've all smelled good food. That's what the sweet smelling savor is. The Most High God is trying to teach the people how to cook their food properly and not get sick when they're eating it. Let's just keep reading. Verse 25, the 7th day shall be to you a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work in it. And on the day of new corn, when ye shall offer a new sacrifice at the festival of weeks to the Lord, there shall be to you a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall bring whole burnt offerings for a sweet smelling savor to the Lord. 2 calves of the herd, one ram, and 7 lambs without blemish. Their meat offerings shall be fine flour mingled with oil. There shall be 3 tenths dill for one calf, 2 tenths dill for one ram, and 1 tenth for each lamb separately for the 7 lambs, and the kid of the goats for a sin offering to make atonement for you. besides the perpetual whole burnt offering. And ye shall offer to me meat offerings. They shall be to you unblemished, and ye shall offer their drink offerings. So it's just telling us that this is how it has to be done. It has to be prepared a certain way. Now let's just get ready for this long haul. Whew. Whew. Chapter 29, verse 1. And I'm ready. And in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be to you a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. It shall be to you a day of blowing the trumpets, and ye shall offer whole burnt offerings for a sweet savor to the Lord. 1 calf of the herd, 1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old without blemish. Their meat offering shall be fine flour mingled with oil, 3/10 for 1 calf, and 2/10 dill for 3/10 dill for 1 calf, and 2/10 dill for 1 ram, a 10th dill for each, a 10th dill, a 10th dill for each several ram for the 7 lambs, and one kid of the goats for sin offering. So when it says that they have that, you have to read that there's 2 rams. So you have to have the 2/10 dill that serves 1 ram and the other 2/10 dill that serves the other one. Just throwing that out there, so there's no confusion. And verse 5, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering to make atonement for you, besides the whole burnt offerings for the new moon, and for the meat offerings, and for their drink offerings, and their perpetual whole burnt offerings, and their meat offerings, and their drink offerings, according to their ordinances, for a sweet smelling savor to the Lord. And on the 10th of this month, which is the 7th month, there shall be to you a holy convocation, which is the month of October, roughly in our modern times. And ye shall and on the 10th of this month, there shall be to you a holy convocation, and ye shall afflict your souls, and ye shall do no work, and ye shall bring near a whole burnt offering for a sweet smelling savor to the Lord, burnt sacrifices to the Lord, 1 calf of the herd, 1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old. They shall be to you without blemish. Their meat offering shall be fine flour mingled with oil, 3/10 dill for 1 calf, and 2/10 dill for 1 ram, a 10th dill for each several lamb, and for the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering to make atonement for you, beside the sin offering for atonement, and the continual whole burnt offering, its meat offering, and its drink offering, and its ordinance for a smell of sweet savor, a burnt sacrifice to the Lord. And on the 15th day of the 7th month, ye shall have a holy convocation, and ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall keep it as a feast to the Lord 7 days. And ye shall bring near whole burnt offerings, a sacrifice for a smell of sweet savor to the Lord. On the first day, 13 calves of the herd, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old. They shall be without blemish. Their meat offerings shall be fine flour mingled with oil, 3/10 dill for 1 calf for the 13 calves, and 2/10 dill for 1 ram for the 2 rams, and a 10th dill for every lamb for the 14 lambs, and 1 kid for a sin offering, besides the continual whole burnt offering. There shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings. Now, I know that it's going to just eventually line up with the 7 days. In the 7 days, I'm not going to skip. But what I wanted to say was that I think they eat less meat because all the days that go on, people just get less hungry. But they're feeding everyone with all this food every day. It is just pretty much one big party, a lot of the time. When you're not working and there's not a new moon, you understand what I'm saying? Like, So you're going to sacrifice at least once a month, twice a month for the new moons, right? Then you're going to sacrifice for the Passover, and you're going to sacrifice for all the other offerings. And if you sin or you want to do a peace offering, come on, it's just right. You can get down, but it's still meant to limit your intake of meat to where you're just not just gorging meat all the time. He does this so that way people get tired of eating meat and it's easy to go without it. Where are we at? And on the second day, 12 calves, 2 rams, verse 17, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old without blemish. Their meat offerings and their drink offerings shall be for the calves and the rams and the lambs according to their numbers, according to their ordinance, and 1 kid of the goats for the sin offering, besides the perpetual whole burnt offering, their meat offerings and their drink offerings. And on the third day, 11 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, without blemish. Their meat offering and their drink offering shall be to the calves and to the rams and to the lambs according to the numbers, according to their ordinance, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Besides the continual whole burnt offering, there shall be meat offerings and their drink offerings. On the fourth day, 10 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old without spot, and there shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings to the calves and to the rams and the lambs, according to their numbers, according to their ordinance, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Besides the continual whole burnt offering, there shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings. Verse 26. On the fifth day, 9 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old without spot. Their meat offerings and their drink offerings shall be to the calves and the rams and the lambs according to their number, according to their ordinance, and with the kids of the goat for a sin offering, besides the perpetual whole burnt offering. And there shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings. On the sixth day, 8 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs without blemish. There shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings to the calves and to the calves and rams and lambs according to their part, according to their ordinance. So you're talking about the third of a fine part, or the fourth of a fine part, or the half of the half a hen, the third of a hen, the fourth of a hen, the 3/10 of a dill, the 2/10 of a dill, the tenth of a dill of the flour, right on, mingle with the oil, all that's what it's talking about. It's just not repeating itself. And one of the kids of the goats for a sin offering, besides the perpetual whole burnt offering, there shall be meat offerings and their drink offerings. On the sixth day, 8 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs without blemish, a year old without blemish, so that way they're nice and innocent, nice and young. There shall be, and they should be virgin. There shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings to the calves and rams and lambs according to their numbers, according to their ordinance, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, besides the perpetual whole burnt offering. There shall be meat offerings and their drink offerings. Verse 32. On the seventh day, 7 calves, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old without blemish. Their meat offerings and their drink offerings shall be to the calves and to the rams and the lambs according to their number and according to their ordinance, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Besides the continual whole burnt offering, there shall be their meat offering and their drink offerings. And on the 8th day shall be to you a release or solemn assembly. Ye shall do no servile work in it, and ye shall offer whole burnt offerings as sacrifices to the Lord. 1 calf, 1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old without spot. There shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings for the calf and the ram and the lambs, according to their numbers, according to their ordinances, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, besides the continual whole burnt offering. There shall be their meat offerings and their drink offerings. These sacrifices shall ye offer to the Lord in your feast, besides your vows, and ye shall offer your freewill offerings and your whole burnt offerings and your meat offerings and your drink offerings and your peace offerings. Stop right there. Long-winded. That's the end of that chapter. We're on to chapter 30. Only 6 more chapters to go, y'all. Let me go ahead and break that down. This is a serious sacrifice, okay? And it goes from the 10th day, does it start? The 15th day, okay, excuse me. And it goes for technically 8 days till like the 23rd day, right? So what's so epic about it is that it balances all the way down to 7 calves, as in the 7 days of the week, right? If you guys are ever wondering why 7 has symbology, is because it represents the 7-day week. Having said that, these sacrifices that we're reading about, not that we're ever going to be able to go and ever perform these things, but when you cook your food at home, really appreciate what you're doing. When you put some food on the grill, on top of the fire, or on top of the skillet, or on a flat top that has fire or whatever, right? Electricity, whatever. When you're cooking your food, just realize that the Most High God doesn't call that just cooking. He calls that sacrifice for the most part. You see what I'm saying? And because we're not cooking an entire animal, right? Because it's different. Because you would have to cook the whole animal. You couldn't preserve it. You'd have to cook the whole thing. This is why eating animals was just like, you're not going to eat all that. So why would you kill it? It makes a big deal. It makes a big deal. It makes a huge deal. And you don't. When there's so many of them, it's not a big deal. But when there's not as many animals, it's a huge deal, and you have to respect it. Now we're at verse 1 of chapter 30. Here we go. And Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord has commanded. Whatsoever man shall vow a vow to the Lord, or swear an oath, or bind himself with an obligation upon his soul, he shall not break his word, or profane his word. All that shall come out of his mouth, he shall do. And if a woman shall vow a vow to the Lord, or bind herself with an obligation in her youth in her father's house, and her father should hear her words, should hear her vows and her obligations, wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father should hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and all the obligations with which she has bound her soul shall remain to her. But if her father straitly forbid her in the day in which he shall hear her vows and her obligations, which she has contracted upon her soul, they shall not stand, and the Lord shall hold her guiltless, because her father forbade her. Stop right there. What is really getting at right now is that if a woman goes and promises something, or if a man goes and promises something to God, and pretty much what you're trying to hear is that, like, a man is listening to his wife or to his daughter or whatever, and he's like, yo, because it'll get to the wife in a second, but it's like, yo, I'm gonna let her speak her piece, right? Because what she said, she wants to be a virgin to a certain age or whatever. He's like, that's possible, right? But if she's saying that she never wants to have children, or she's gonna do this, and he's like, whoa, hold on. Hold on. Don't listen to any of that guy. She's tripping. Right on. She's straight tripping. She don't know what she's talking about. And this is to speak as if the Most High God is like, I have a camera on everybody at all times. I have a lease on you at all times, you know. So he knows what you're doing at all times. I know that's hard for people to believe. People have a hard time believing that because folks don't get struck by lightning that the Most High God is watching them, but He is. Now, where are we at? Verse 7. But if she should be indeed married, and her vows be upon her according to the uttering of her lips, in respect, it would seem that the relative must refer to understood. I don't know what that is. There's a funny word there by the symbol. We'll just start that over. But if she should indeed be married, and her vows be upon her according to the utterance of her lips, in respect of the obligations which she has contracted upon her soul, and her husband should hear and hold his peace at her, in the day in which he should hear, in the day in which he should hear, then shall all the vows he should hear, then thus shall all her vows be binded, and her obligations which she has contracted upon her soul shall stand. But if her husband should straitly or should in any wise forbid her in the day in which he should hear her, none of her vows or obligations which she has contracted upon her soul shall stand, because her husband has disallowed her, and the Lord shall hold her guiltless. And the vow of a widow and of her that is put away, whatsoever that she shall bind or vow upon her soul shall stand to her. And if her vow be made in the house of her husband, or the obligation upon her soul with an oath, and her husband hear and hold his peace at her, and not disallow her, then all her vows shall stand, and all the obligations which she contracted against her soul shall stand against her. But if her husband should utterly cancel or forbid, take it away, the vow in the day in which he shall hear it, none of the things which shall proceed out of her lips in any of her, in her vows and the obligations contracted upon her soul shall stand to her. Her husband has canceled them, and the Lord shall hold her guiltless. Now I know a lot of people are like, "This is so chauvinistic. This is so look, bruh. Look, sis. This is a way of saying that the head of the household, the person who ultimately gets held accountable, should be able to say, like, yo, right on, if you're gonna make a vow, right, and I can hear you and it doesn't make sense, I'm not gonna let you doom yourself to God, right on, to the most high. But if you're gonna say something sensible, it might even be something challenging. It because it's a healthy thing for you to be challenged. I'm like, that's good for them, right? And I'll always remind them of that, and that's something to hold them to. But they're not gonna hold you to some BS. Oh yeah. Or to some nonsense. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her soul, her husband shall confirm it to her, or her husband shall cancel it. Verse 15. But if he be wholly silent at her from day to day, then shall he bind upon her all her vows, and he shall confirm to her the obligations which she has bound upon herself, because he has held her peace at her in the day in which he has heard her. And if her husband should in any wise or utterly cancel them after the day in which he has heard them, then he shall bear his iniquity. These are the right. That's on you, stupid. You let her promise some dumb stuff or something that's sinful or whatever. That's on you, cuz. Right on? Because you should have told her not to do that. You know, so that's on you now. Because it might be something that she goes and acts on right then and there, or it's already acted on. And now, guess what? When she flips out and spazzes out on you, when you have to bear your iniquity, when she goes all in on you, right? That's on you. Anyway, Life is life. These are the ordinances, verse 17, which the Lord commanded Moses, between a man and his wife, and between a father and daughter in her youth in the house of her father. Verse 1 of chapter 31. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, avenge the wrongs or vengeance of the children of Israel on the Midianites, and afterwards thou shalt be added to thy people. And Moses spoke to the people, saying, arm some of you, or arm some men, and set yourselves in array before the Lord against Midian, to inflict vengeance on Midian from the Lord, and send 1,000 of each tribe from all the tribes of each of the children of Israel to set themselves in array. And they numbered of the thousands of Israel 1,000 men of each tribe, 12,000. These were armed for war, and Moses sent them away. 1,000 of every tribe with their forces. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, and the holy instruments and the signal trumpet were in their hands. And they set themselves in array against Midian, as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew every male. And they slew the kings of Midian together with their slain subjects, even Evi, and Rakan, and Sur, and and Robach, 5 kings of Midian. And they slew with the sword Balaam. That's right. That same Balaam who was talking about how he'd rather die with the righteous. You get what you wish for, homie. And they slew with the sword Balaam, the son of Beor, with the other slain. And they made a prey of the women of Midian, and their store, and their cattle, and all their possessions. And they spoiled their forces, and they burnt with fire all their cities in the places of their habitation. And they burnt their villages with fire. And they took all their plunder and all their spoils, both man and beast. And they brought to Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and to all the children of Israel the captives, and the spoils, and the plunder, to the camp Araboth, Moab, which is at Jordan by Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar, the priest, and all the rulers of the synagogue went forth out of the camp to meet them. And Moses was angry with the captains of the host, and heads of thousands, and heads of hundreds, who came from the battle array. And Moses said to them, why have ye saved every female alive? For they were the occasion to the children of Israel by the word of Balaam of the revolting and despising of the word of the Lord because of Phagor. There was a plague in the congregation of the Lord. Now then, slay every male and all the spoil. Slay every woman who has known the lying with man. And ask for all the captivity of women who have not known, and ask for all the captivity of women who have not known the lying with man. Save ye them alive. And ye shall encamp outside the great camp 7 days. And everyone who has slain and who touches a dead body or of a slain man shall be purified on the 3rd day. And ye and your captivity shall ye purify yourselves on the 7th day. And ye shall purify every garment and every leathern utensil and all furniture of the goat, or every work of goatskin, and every wooden vessel. And Eleazar the priest said to the men, of the host that came from the battle, array, this is the ordinance of the law which the Lord has commanded Moses, besides the gold and the silver and the brass and the iron and lead and tin. Everything that shall pass through the fire shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with water of sanctification. And whatsoever shall not pass through the fire shall pass through water. And on the seventh day ye shall wash your garments and be clean. And afterwards ye shall come into the camp. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take the sum of the spoils of the captivity, both of man and beast, thou and Eleazar the priest, and the heads of the family of the congregation. And ye shall divide the spoils between the warriors that went down out to battle, and the whole congregation. And ye shall take a tribute for the Lord from the warriors that went out to battle. Now, just listen. They went out there kicking butt, taking names, smashing skulls in, then killed all the women who had slept with the men, then kept all the young virgins, then killed off every male, then took everything that's worth something, right? Then had to spend a whole week outside getting purified. The first 3 days they have to wait, then they clean themselves. Then on the seventh day they clean themselves and all the captives, right? And then they're able to come inside to the camp. And now at this point, what you have going on is now they're going to divvy up all the goods, all the people, all the everything. Verse 27, and ye shall divide the spoils between the warriors that went out to battle and the whole congregation. And ye shall take a tribute for the Lord from the warriors that went out to battle. One soul out of 500 from them. So 1/500 pretty much. And from the cattle, even from the oxen, and from the sheep, and from the asses. And ye shall take from them their half, and thou shalt give them to Eleazar the priest as the first fruits of the Lord. And from them belonging to the children of Israel, thou shalt take 1/50, or one from 50, or 1/50 from the men, and from the oxen, and from the sheep, and from the asses, and from the cattle, and thou shalt give them to the Levites that keep charge in the tabernacle of the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And that which remained of the spoil, which the warriors took, notice it calls them warriors, was of the sheep was 675,000, and oxen 72,000, and asses 61,000, and purses of women who had not known lying with man, all souls 32,000, and purses of women not knowing the lying with man 32,000. Now, why that's such an important thing is because I think if there were little girls in that, right on, it would tell you that, but it indicates that they're women. It told you that they were women before. It indicates that all the women who, it didn't say all the females who've lied with the man, it said all the women who've known to be with the man. So they're pretty much like any chick who looks like she has children, get her out of here. The chick who, like, she looking like she's super thirsty, looking like she didn't had her way around the block too many times, get her out of here. Right on. Anybody you caught in the middle of the action, kill them both. See, it's deep like that, and I know it doesn't seem like that's what was taking place, and that was what was happening, but that is what was taking place, and that is what was happening. As we just power through this, because we're already at chapter 31, we're about to be at chapter 32 pretty soon, and we're just powering through all this, and I just want to take the time to say, thank you guys just for listening. Appreciate you guys, number one, for just for sticking it out with me. But I really do hope y'all see and just hear how they bless the warriors. Keep in mind the Deuteronomy stuff about how if you wanted to be with a woman, you had to shave her hair, cut her nails, give her 30 days to pretty much, come around, right? And then you can be with her. And then if you didn't want to be with her anymore, you couldn't sell her, but you could let her go free. So This is where this is a practical situation where something like that could have very well have taken place. But in order for you to take that woman, you have to do, once again, by the rules. You can't just do what you want to do. Right. Because it has to be clear to the women of your tribe that, oh, okay, he's messing with a different chick. Like, yeah, you don't get to just act like she's one of y'all. No, bruh. You don't get to pull that deception. So it's once again, all the different ordinances, all the other rules and legislation all work together cohesively for these types of moments. We're at verse 41, chapter 31. And Moses gave tribute to the Lord, the heave offering of God, to Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded Moses, from the half belonging to the children of Israel, whom Moses separated from the men of war. And the half taken from the sheep belonging to the congregation was 337,000. So, man, we're talking like almost a million sheep, yo. Okay, we're talking a million sheep, not almost a million sheep. Okay, and oxen, 36,000, and asses, 36,500, and persons, 16,000. And Moses took the half belonging to the children of Israel of the 50th part, or one out of the 50, the 50th part of men and of cattle, and he gave them to the Levites who keep charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. Now, a lot of people are like, what does this have to do with anything, Meech? This is one of the linchpins as to how certain guys within the Aaronic priesthood become, friendly with women that they have no business being friendly with. And this is how women who are born to the royal priesthood become friendly to men they have no business being friendly with. Right on, because you're the son of a Midianitish woman or a Midianite woman, right on, and the Levite man. You're not really a Levite. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot that goes into it. Once again, you have to keep all the rules. As much as you can keep in your mind at one time, you have to just constantly replay it. And this is why the scripture is so overwhelming, because, here we are. I'm about to read this last part of chapter 31. We're about to be in chapter 32, and we're literally 4 or 5 chapters away from being done with the book of Numbers. And all those who were appointed to be officers of the thousands of the host, captains of the thousands, and captains of the hundreds approached Moses and said to Moses, thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war with us, and not one is missing. And we have brought our gift to the Lord. Every man who has found an article of gold, whether an armlet or chain or a ring or bracelet or a clasp for hair, to make atonement for us before the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar, the priests, took the gold from them, and even every wrought article, and all that wrought gold, even the offering that was offered to the Lord, was 16,750 shekels from the captains of thousands and the captains of hundred. For the men of war took plunder, every one for himself. And Eleazar and Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds, and brought the vessels, or brought them into the tabernacle of witness, a memorial of the children of Israel before the Lord. Now stop right there. Why this is so huge is because it doesn't go into the how does somebody get plundered? They get killed. Do y'all understand? They were, you can say, murdering, annihilating people, getting them out of here. And the book that you're hearing it from has such a way of making it so light and so little that it's just no big thing. But it really was, obviously, to the people who got demolished, it was a huge thing. And so when we have these instances where sometimes people don't put in their mind that, yo, these guys didn't get the plunder by just sitting there. They got the plunder by taking it from somebody. And for them to be in battle array, pretty much what we're hearing about is a nation of people going around kicking the crap out of other nations, right? Building up their treasury, building up all of everything, right? They got the coward poop butt generation up out of there. Now they got a generation of straight hardy, go get it, do or die cats. It's lovely. It's lovely. It really is. Now, where are we going? Verse 1 of chapter 32. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a multitude, or cattle, multitude, greatly, a multitude, very great. And I was reading a symbol, so calm down. Very great. And they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Galaad. And there was place, and the place was a place for cattle. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad came and spoke to Moses and Eleazar the priest and to the princes of the congregation, saying, Ataroth and Dibon and Jezer and Namra and Esabon and Elil and Sabama and Nabal and Benen and Baim, the land which the Lord has delivered up before the children of Israel is pasture land, and thy servants have cattle. And they said, if we have found grace in thy sight, let this land be thy servants for a possession, and do not cause for us to pass over the Jordan. And Moses said to the sons of God and the sons of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and ye shall sit here, and shall ye sit here? Pretty much like, so they're going to fight, and y'all going to sit here after we had to fight to get this land, and y'all just going to sit? No, please. And why do ye pervert the minds? And why do ye pervert the minds of the children of Israel, that they should not cross over into the land which the Lord gives them? Did not your fathers thus, when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land? And they went up to the valley of Cluster and spied the land and turned aside the heart of the children of Israel, that they should not go into the land which the Lord gave them? And the Lord was very angry in that day and sware, saying, surely these men who came up out of Egypt from 20 years old upward, who know good and evil, shall not see the land, which I swear to give to Abraham and Isaac, which I swear to give to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, for they have not closely followed after me, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, who was set apart, and Joshua, the son of Noah, for they closely followed after the Lord. And the Lord was very angry with Israel. For 40 years he caused them to wander in the wilderness, until all the generation which did evil before, or in the sight of the Lord, was extinct. Behold, ye are risen up in the room of your fathers, a combination or an evil race, or a destruction of sinful men, to increase yet further the fierce wrath of the Lord against Israel. For ye will turn away from him to desert him yet once more in the wilderness, and ye will sin against the whole congregation. And they said to him, we will build here folds for our cattle and cities for our possessions, and we will arm ourselves and go on as advanced guard before the children of Israel, until we shall have brought them into their place, and our possessions shall remain in walled cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our houses until the children of Israel have been distributed, each to his own inheritance. And we will not any longer inherit with them from the other side of the Jordan and onwards, because we have our own full inheritance on the side of the Jordan eastward. On the side beyond Jordan eastward. So to the right. Oh my goodness. Realize this. They're saying, we'll go. We have to build our stuff up. We'll go. We'll be the forward party. We'll fight, help these guys get their stuff, and we won't come back until everybody's settled down. Deal? Deal. And Moses says to them, and Moses said to them, verse 20, if ye will do according to these words, or to this word, if ye will arm yourselves before the Lord for battle, and every one of you will pass over Jordan fully armed before the Lord until his enemy be destroyed from before his face, and the land shall be subdued from before the Lord, then afterwards shall ye return and be guiltless before the Lord as regards Israel. And this land shall be to you for a possession before the Lord. But if ye will do not so, ye will sin against the Lord, and ye shall be in, and ye shall know your sin when affliction shall come upon you. And ye shall build for yourselves cities for your store, and folds for your cattle, and ye shall do that which proceeds out of your mouth. Verse 25. And the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad spoke to Moses, saying, thy servants will do as our Lord commands. Our store and our wives and our cattle shall be in the cities of Galiad, but thy servants will go over all armed, and set in order before the Lord to do battle, as our Lord says. And Moses appointed to them for judges Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Noah, the chiefs of the families of the tribes of Israel. And Moses said to them, if the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad will pass over with you, everyone armed for war before the Lord, and ye shall subdue the land before you, then ye shall give to them the land of Galiad for a possession. But if they will not pass over armed with you to war before the Lord, then ye shall cause to pass over their possession and their wives and their cattle before you into the land of Canaan, and they shall inherit with you in the land of Canaan. So what they're saying is that if these dudes follow with y'all, they get to stay here. If they don't follow with y'all, make sure y'all come back and pull their wives, the cattle, everything across the river, and they come in and stay with y'all. It's that simple. And the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad answer, saying, whatsoever our Lord or our master says to his servants, that we will do. We will go over armed before the Lord in the land of Canaan, and ye shall give us our inheritances beyond Jordan. Now stop right there. Are they going over there with slingshots? No, these dudes is going over there with spears, gauntlets, swords, pikes, all kinds of stuff. Okay? It's for real warfare, y'all. It's not for fake. It's just because it's not documented moment by moment play. Just because you don't get the play-by-play of a fight in the Bible doesn't mean that it's not going down. No, let's just keep it pushing. Verse 33 of chapter 32. And Moses gave to them, even to the sons of God and the sons of Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh, of the sons of Joseph, the kingdom of Sion, of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, of Bashan, and the land and its cities, or the cities. Now, the reason why they split up Manasseh is because Manasseh and Ephraim around one another, if the two tribes combined are almost 100,000, they would be the largest tribe for sure. No, they're like, we're not letting you two get together. You two will be broke off. So we get half these dudes over here, half these dudes over here. And it also makes it to where there's more room for everyone. Where we at? And the kingdom of Og, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land and its cities, with the coast, the cities of the land round about. And the sons of God built Dibon, and Ataroth, and Aror, and Sophar, and Jazer, and they set them up, and Amram, and Bethran, strong cities, and folds for sheep. And the sons of Reuben built Esebon, and Elil, and Kiriathim, and Bilamion, surrounded with walls, and Sabama, and they called the name of the cities which they built after their own names. And the son of Machir, the son of Manas, went to Galad and took it, and destroyed the Amorite who dwelt in it. And Moses gave Galad to Machir, the son of Manas, and he dwelt there. And Jair, the son of Manas, went and took their villages, or folds, and called them the villages of Jair. And Nabu went and took Kath and her villages, and called them Naboth after his name. So every place you're reading about, whoever took it over, they renamed it after themselves. Now, once again, it's hardcore fighting going down. This is extreme warfare going down here. I can't stress it enough. People are getting their heads chopped off. People are getting their faces smashed in. People are getting burnt alive, shot through the face with arrows, hit through the head with darts. It is going down. Bodies are getting crushed with rocks. People are getting trampled with wild animals. It is pandemonium and chaos, okay? And just because it's not written there, it doesn't mean that it's not. Verse 1 of chapter 33. And these are the stages of the children of Israel as they went out from the land of Egypt with their host by the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their removals and their stages by the word of the Lord. And these are the stages of their journeying. They departed from Ramses in the first month on the 15th day of the first month. On the day after the Passover of the children of Israel went forth with a high hand before all the Egyptians. And the Egyptians buried those that died of them, even all that the Lord smote, every firstborn in the land of Egypt. Also the Lord executed vengeance on their gods. And the children of Israel departed from Ramses and encamped in Succoth. And they departed from Succoth and encamped in Bhutan, which is a part of the wilderness. And they departed from Bhutan and encamped in the mount of Roth, which is opposite of Bil Saphon, and encamped opposite Magdal. And they departed from Eroth and crossed the middle of the sea into the wilderness. And they went a journey of 3 days through the wilderness and encamped in Pekari, or Marah, or Bitternesses. And they departed from Pekari and came to Elam. And in Elam were 12 fountains of water and 70 palm trees. And they encamped by the water. And they departed from Elam and encamped by the Red Sea. And they departed from the Red Sea and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin and encamped in Raphakah, and departed from Raphakah and encamped in Elis. And they departed from Elis and encamped in Raphadim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Raphadim and encamped in the wilderness of Sinah. And they departed from the wilderness of Sinah and encamped at the graves of Luz, or Kibroth Hatava, whatever that is. That's probably the actual name, but that's the English translation. And they departed from the graves of Lust and encamped at Esaroth. And they departed from Esaroth and encamped at Rathama. And they departed from Rathama and encamped in Ramon Faris. And they departed from Ramon Faris and encamped in Labona. And they departed from Labona and encamped in Rasan. And they departed from Rasan and encamped in Makalath. And they departed from Makalath and encamped in Safar. And they departed from Safar and encamped in Karadath. And they departed from Karadath and encamped in Makaloth, or Makheleth. There we go, Makaloth. And they departed from Makaloth and encamped in Katah. And they departed from Katah and encamped in Terath. And they departed from the Terath and encamped in Mathekah. And they departed from Mathekah and encamped in Salmona. And they departed from Salmona and encamped in Masaruth. And they departed from Masaruth and encamped in Bani. And they departed from Bani and encamped in the mount of Gadad. And they departed from the mount Gadad and encamped in Etabatha. And they departed from Etabatha and encamped in Ebrona. And they departed from Ebrona and encamped in Gasian Geber. And they departed from Gasian Geber and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin and encamped in the wilderness of Paran. This is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh and encamped in Mount Or, near the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up by the command of the Lord and died there in the 40th year of the departure of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, in the 5th month, on the 1st day of the month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Or. Now stop right there. This one part, even though it doesn't break off into some of the finer things that the children of Israel do, just to read that Aaron died in the 40th year, that tells you everything. That tells you that Aaron watched a whole bunch of people die. And what makes it all not ironic, but justifiable, is that you could contend that these are the same people that Aaron made that calf for. A whole bunch of them. Right. Think about that. 600,000 plus men and women. Who knows how many women died, but 600,000 men for sure. Dead and gone. All but 2. Caleb and Joshua. Or Ase, as he was born. Where are we at, my lovely family? Verse 39. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died at Mount Or. And Arad, the Canaanitish king, he too dwelt in the land of Canaan. Having heard when the children of Israel were entering the land, then they departed from Mount Or and encamped in Salmana, and departed from Salmana and encamped in Phino, and departed from Phino and encamped in Oboth. And they departed from Oboth and encamped in Gai. On the other side, Jordan, on the borders of Moab. And they departed from Gai and encamped in Dibon Gad. And they departed from Dibon Gad and encamped in Gelmon de Blatium. And they departed from Gelmon de Blatham, and encamped on the mountains of Abarim, over against Nabal. And they departed from the mountains of Abarim and encamped on the west of Moab, at Jordan by Jericho. And they encamped by Jordan between Esamoth as far as Belsa to the west of Moab. And the Lord spoke to Moses at the west of Moab by Jordan at Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, Ye are to pass over Jordan in the land of Canaan, and ye shall destroy all that dwell in the land before your face, and ye shall abolish their high places, and all their molten images ye shall destroy. And ye shall demolish all their pillars, and ye shall destroy all the inhabitants of the land, and ye shall dwell in it. For I have given their land to you for an inheritance, and ye shall inherit their land according to your tribes. Caveat: did anybody other than Meech ever picture that the Most High God wanted the meanest, nicest people to ever have existed to be like, yo, what's going here? Kill everybody. Only the people who are going to conform to our ways of live. If you start to act out and conform, we'll break your head, and then we'll just go on business as usual. Right. Just throwing that out there. Most High God does not play. He's not. Kumbaya is not his favorite song. Let's just say that. And ye shall inherit the land according to your tribes. To the greater number, ye shall give the larger possession, and to the smaller, ye shall give the lesser possession. To whatsoever part or his, a man's house name, shall go forth by lot. Therefore, by his property, ye shall inherit according to the tribes of your families. But if ye will not destroy the dwellers in the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that whomsoever of them ye shall leave shall be thorns in your eyes and darts in your sides, and they shall be enemies to you on the land on which ye dwell. And it shall come to pass that as I had determined determined to do to them, so will I do to you. Verse 1 of chapter 34. And that's not all self-explanatory, but it does sound pretty explanatory to me. When y'all go into this land, you are going to put your foot on their chins and step with your heel and crush their faces all the way down to their larynx. You're going to cut off their faces, throw their babies from high places, trample everybody. You are going to go berserk on them. You're going to smash them to nothing, and you're going to completely destroy the morale as a people. They will be nothing, okay? They're going to run off, and they're going to just go live somewhere else and become whoever. Can you dig that? But if you don't do that, if you don't smash their babies, if you don't kill their pregnant women, if you don't kill those little boys, if you don't touch everything moving and put the fear of your God into it, I promise you that these same people are going to become a trap and a snare unto you. And the same evil I had devised for them, it shall fall in your laps. Verse 1 of chapter 34. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, charge the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, ye are entering into the land of Canaan. It shall be to you for an inheritance, the land of Canaan with its boundaries. And your southern side shall be the wilderness of Sin to the border of Edom. And your border southward shall extend to the side of the salt sea eastward. And so listen, this is how you know that wherever they're at is not straight up and down. It has to be at an angle. Word? Because for that to be the case, for a certain part of the land to be, that means that also another part of your land is not connected to the land. Like there's a gap somewhere in the land. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep it pushing. And the border shall go round about you from the south of the accent of Akrabin, and shall proceed to Enak, and going forth, it shall be southward to Kadesh Barnea, and it shall go forth to the village of Arad, and shall proceed to Asamona. And the border shall compass from Asamona to the river of Egypt, and the sea shall be the termination. And ye shall have your border on the west, or the sea. The great sea shall be the boundary. This shall be to you the boundary on the west. Now I need y'all to understand something. In order for the left side, for it to be a sea to the back of you, you can't have been in no South Africa, because the only bodies of water that are to the west of South Africa is the Atlantic Ocean, y'all. Come on now. This is the Middle East. This is the Mediterranean that we're talking about. Thank you. It's giving us a geographical locale. It's giving us a way to physically imagine it. This is not in Africa. And this is by no stretch of the imagination in America. There are no seas in America. There are no seas in America. Man. Verse 7. And this shall be your northern border. From the great sea ye shall measure to yourselves. By the side of the mountain. So once again, at the north, there's another body of water up by him. Understand, y'all. These dudes are not landlocked by any stretch of your imagination. And this shall be your northern border. From the great sea ye shall measure to yourselves by the side of the mountain, or the mountain. The mountain is a repetition for some odd reason. But by the side of the mountain, and ye shall measure to yourselves the mountain from Mount Hor to the entering to Emeth, and the termination of it shall be the coast of Saradak. And the border shall go out to Dephrana, and its termination shall be to Asonaim. This shall be your border from the north. And ye shall measure yourselves the eastern border from Asonaim to Sephamar. And the border shall go down from Sephamar to Bela, eastward to the fountains. And the border shall go down from Bela behind the sea, Chinnereth eastward, or Kinnereth. And the border shall go down to Jordan, and the termination shall be the salt sea. This shall be your land and its border round about. And the Lord charged the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which ye shall inherit by lot, even as the Lord commanded us to give it to the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh, and the tribe of Reuben, and the tribe of the children of Gad, and the tribe of the children of Reuben, and the tribe of the children of Gad have received their inheritance, one moment, according to their families, or to the house of their families, and the house of the tribe of Manasseh. One moment. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, These are the names of the men who shall divide or inherit the land for you. Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Noah. And ye shall take one ruler from each tribe to divide the land to you by lot. And these are the names of the men of the tribe of Judah. Caleb the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Simeon, Salamiel the son of Simeon. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Eldad the son of Kaslan. Of the tribe of Dan. Of the tribe of Dan, the prince was Bakur the son of Egli. Of the sons of Joseph, of the tribe of Manasseh, the prince was Aniel, the son of Sufi. And of the tribe of Ephraim, the prince was Kamuel, the son of Sabatan. Of the tribe of Zabulon, the prince was Elisaphan, the son of Pharnak. Of the tribe of Issachar, the prince was Phaltiel, the son of Oza. Of the tribe of Aser, the prince was Achior, the son of Selemi. Of the tribe of Naphtali, the prince was Phadael, the son of Jemiud. These did the Lord command to distribute the inheritances to the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. Those men are probably the eldest men. I'm not going to assume that, but that is a safe thought in my mind. Look, y'all, we literally got this page, and this back page, and you can say goodnight. But I didn't think we were going to get through 16 chapters in a 3-hour period. Clearly, I've done a lot less talking and a lot more reading. I'll do some elaboration here in a moment. I have a review I'm already working on, so I don't want to speak on everything I'm going to talk about during my review. But this review will be, until I do the Deuteronomy review, it will be the most comprehensive review I've done, because there's going to be a lot of different small things that I bring to the forefront and bring back to people's memories, so that way they're not lost on us. And we can also appreciate the culmination of all the knowledge that we've learned so far, thus far, and we can really appreciate where we stand once again in the story. Now, let me go ahead and read verse 1 of, guess what? Chapter 35. No, you can't believe that, huh? And the Lord spoke to Moses to the west of Moab by Jordan, near Jericho, saying, give orders to the children of Israel, and they shall give to the Levites cities to dwell in, the lot or the lots of their possession, that they shall give them to the Levites, the suburbs of the cities round about them, or the Levites. And the cities shall be for them to dwell in, and their enclosures or districts, spaces marked off, shall be for their cattle and all their beasts. And the suburbs of the city, which ye shall give to the Levites, shall be from the wall of the city and outwards 2,000 cubits round about. And thou shalt measure outside the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. And your city shall be in the midst of this, and the suburbs of the cities as described. And ye shall give the cities to the Levites, 6 cities of refuge, which ye shall give for the slayer to flee, which ye shall give the flayer to flee thither. In addition to these, 42 cities. And ye shall give them to the Levite in all 48 cities, them and their suburbs. And as for the cities which ye shall give out of possession of the children of Israel, from those that have much ye shall give much, and from those that have less ye shall give less. And they shall give their cities, they shall give of their cities to the Levites, each one according to his inheritance, which they shall inherit. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, ye are to cross over Jordan into the land of Canaan. Now notice that it's not called the Jordan, and it's called Jordan, as if the body of water itself has a spirit or something like that in it that gives it that. I don't know, just throwing that out there. And ye shall appoint to yourselves cities, and they shall be to you cities of refuge for the slayer to flee, every one who has killed another or smitten a life unintentionally. And the cities shall be to you places of refuge from the avenger, or him that as kinsman represents the blood, the avenger of blood. And the slayer shall not die until he stands before the congregation of judgment. And the cities which ye shall assign, even 6 cities, shall be places of refuge for you. Ye shall assign 3 cities on the other side of the Jordan, and ye shall assign 3 cities in the land of Canaan. Now, the reason why that is because so that way there's some distance in the refuge cities, and let's just say an avenger of blood comes looking for somebody. There's different places for you to uproot and go. You know what I'm saying? You know, where we at? It shall be a place of refuge for the children of Israel, and for the stranger, and for him that sojourns among you. These cities shall be a place for refuge for everyone to flee thither who has killed a man unintentionally. Now notice, it's unintentional. There can be no willful anything in this. Listen to all these different examples. And if he should smite a man with an iron instrument, and the man should die, he is a murderer. Let the murderer by all means be put to death. And if he should smite a man with a stone thrown from his hand, whereby a man may die, and he thus die, he is a murderer. Let the murderer by all means be put to death. And if he should smite a man with an instrument of wood from his hand, whereby he may die, and thus he die, he is a murderer. Let the murderer by all means be put to death. The avenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. Whensoever he shall meet him, he shall slay him. And if he should thrust him through enmity, or cast anything among him from an ambuscade, and the man should die, or he should have smitten him with his hand through anger, and the man should die, let that man that smote him be put to death by all means. He is a murderer. Let the murderer by all means be put to death. The avenger of blood shall avenge the murderer when he meets him. The avenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meets him. Excuse me. Now, why this is so important is because a lot of people in this land, you see what I'm saying? Right. This is why I can't get with the justice system. This is why it's not justice here. It's a corrupt, evil, wicked thing, because you just heard me tell you how it's supposed to go if somebody kills somebody. I don't give a damn what they say about the police and this, that, and the other. That's nonsense. It tells you right here. It tells you right here that you are supposed to avenge a person who's murdered. By all means. But if the slayer should anywise go out the bonds, go out. Skip some stuff. But if he should, suddenly thrust himself, not through enmity or hate, or cast anything, vessel or weapon, upon him, not from an ambuscade, or smite him with any stone, whereby a man may die unawares, and it should fall upon him, and he should die, but he was not his enemy, nor sought to hurt him, then the assembly should judge between the smiter and the avenger of blood, according to the judgments. And the congregation shall rescue the slayer from the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to his city of refuge. Shall restore him to his city of refuge. Whether he fled for refuge, whether he fled for refuge, and he should dwell there till the death of the high priest, whom they anointed with the holy oil. But if the slayer should in any wise go out beyond the bounds of the city, whether he fled for refuge, and the avenger of blood should find him without the bounds of the city of his refuge, then, and the avenger of blood should kill the slayer, he is not guilty. For he ought to have remained in the city of refuge till the high priest die. And after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return to the land of his possession. And all the things shall be to you an ordinance of judgment throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whosoever kills a man, smites a life, thou shalt slay the murderer. On the testimony of witnesses, or by witnesses. And one witness shall not testify against the soul that he should die. And he shall not accept ransoms for life from a murderer who is worthy of death, for he shall be surely put to death. And ye shall not accept a ransom to excuse his fleeing to the city of refuge, so that he should again dwell in the land until the death of the priest. So shall ye not pollute with murder the land on which ye dwell. For this blood pollutes the land, and the land shall not be purged from the blood shed upon it, but by the blood of him that shed it. And ye shall not defile the land whereon ye dwell, on which I dwell in the midst of you. For I am the Lord, dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel. Let me go ahead and break something down real quick. It's about to get real deep. That part right there tells us so much, because it's telling us that we were told before, right? You don't avenge yourself. You don't do anything, right on? Word, you know what I'm saying? You let somebody else do it for you, pretty much. This is why the Avenger of Blood is a real thing. Now, no. If the Avenger of Blood takes into their hands justice, they become the slayer. It's an ongoing process. So it would never stop technically if people disobeyed it. But if you obey it, and let's say the high priest say, "Hey, look, man, he killed your son or your daughter on accident. I know you're tripping. I know you're mad about it, but you're gonna have to let it go. It's an accident." The high priest dies. It's been 20 years. 20 years later, even if they still hate you, they probably don't possess the same energy to kill you. Only, man, you gotta have that Count of Monte Cristo energy, you know what I mean, to do something like that. What's up, sister? You literally come in on the very last chapter. But we just covered this part where it's just talk about the Avenger of Blood. And this is another reason why when I talk about reparations, y'all, this is why I talk about it like that, because you can't have people that got murdered not be avenged. And I'm sorry, a 75-year sentence is not it's not justice, and that doesn't avenge the blood. In no instance, when it says by all means put them to death, in no instance are they living. The only time you live is when it's unintentional. So unintentional as in I'm riding my cart, your child runs in the way of the cart out of nowhere, gets run over. It's dark out, can't nobody see, right? They know it's an accident, it's a tragedy. The father is steaming, Willie beaming. I leave, I go to a city of refuge. This is actually where sanctuary cities come from. So if you guys are ever wondering where the term sanctuary cities come from, it's because of the city of refuge. That's where they come from. It comes from the term that they're going to give these people refuge. Now, we're going to finish this last chapter out, and then we're done with the book of the Numbers. And then after that, I start with the Deuteronomy whenever I feel like it. And the heads of the tribes of the sons of Gad, the sons of Machir, the sons of Manasseh, of the tribes of the sons of Joseph, drew near and spoke before Moses and before Eleazar the priest and before the houses and before the heads of the houses of the families of the children of Israel. And they said, the Lord commanded our Lord to render the land of inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And the Lord appointed our Lord to give inheritance to Salpad, our brother, to his daughters. And they will become wives in one of the tribes of the children of Israel. So their inheritance shall be taken away from the possession of our fathers, and shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which the women shall marry, and shall be taken away from the portion of our inheritance. And if there shall be a release of the children of Israel, then shall there be inheritance be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which the women marry. And their inheritance shall be taken away from the inheritance of our family's tribe. And Moses charged the family of Israel by commandment of the Lord, saying, thus says the tribe of the children of Joseph, or thus say, this is the thing which the Lord has appointed the daughters of Salpad, saying, let them marry, or let them be wives where they please, Only let them marry men of their father's tribe. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel go out from the tribe, go about from tribe to tribe. For the children of Israel shall steadfastly or be cemented or steadfastly continue each in the inheritance of his family's tribe. And whatever daughter is heiress to a property of the tribes of the children of Israel, such women shall be married, each one to her father's tribe, that the sons of Israel may inherit the property of his father's tribe. And the inheritance shall not go about from one tribe to another, but the children of Israel shall steadfastly continue each in his own inheritance. And the Lord commanded Moses, so did they, the daughters of Salpad. So Tirzah and Eglah and Melka and Nuah and Malah, the daughters of Salpad, married their cousins. They married who? Their cousins. They were married to the men of the tribe of Manasseh, of the sons of Joseph, and their inheritance was attached to the tribe of their father's family. These are the commandments and the ordinances and judgments which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses at the west of Moab, at Jordan, by Jericho. And that, brothers and sisters, ends the book of the Numbers. Don't worry, 32 more chapters to go. And I can say I've done on this side of Moses what I know no man has actually done, which is read it and try to break it down. Now let's just talk about this last part, super duper deep. First off, it confirms what I've been saying to y'all for a long time, that people were supposed to marry their cousins. Second off, it confirms that the idea of your inheritance is supposed to be yours so that way you never go broke. Thirdly, it also confirms the idea that what my father fought for and took from the Canaanites, you don't get to have. Okay? You follow what I'm saying? Because there's going to be tribes that have really nice stuff because they did the hardest fighting. They got the better rewards. There's going to be tribes that have okay stuff because they came in and they got the hyenas reward. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect, but that's just what it is. Once again, there's guys who came up out of Egypt who just had more than other tribes. All these things play a factor. So the reason why, once again, this is so important is because when you do the Jubilee and you do the release, like they said, right, bro, it's not going to be cool if these daughters own a whole bunch of stuff and it sounded like they did. And it's like, yo, man, we're not about to lose, millions or hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars or whatever, whatever the equivalence would be, or billions of dollars, whatever the equivalence would be. We're not losing that to our brother tribes. We're just not. We love them, but not that much. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. The book of the Numbers really just tries to break down literally the numbers of what's going on in so many ways, and then it gives us a pretty big gravity of where the scripture went, And we covered 16 chapters. We covered from chapter 20 to chapter 36 in under 3 hours. So I'm actually very proud of myself. I didn't think it was going to be done that quickly. I thought it was going to take much longer. For anybody who, once again, Sister Bowser, I'm about to sign off in a little bit, but I would advise for you to go back and just watch it. It's pretty solid. It's more reading than it is me stopping to talk. Most of this is, won't say self-explanatory, but it's pretty well understood information because I assume the people who are listening are the same people who've been dealing with it, so it doesn't sound foreign. But what did we learn from the book of Numbers, just in general? how to fulfill sacrifice the right way, how to address infidelity, how to purify ourselves. Mm. What else? Always be ready. Yeah. Always be ready. You can't have half a heart when you serve the Most High God. You got to be wholehearted in your effort, even if you're going to lose, or even if you know that something's not promised to you, something's not going to be given to you. Uh, there's a lot going on, you know, within the Scripture, and I like to toot my own horn a little bit and say nobody else is reading the Scripture to you like this, but they're not, and I don't think they understand it to this degree either. Uh, I finished reading the book of the Numbers earlier today and gave myself like an hour break, and then I just cranked out 16 chapters just now. So, you know, 16 chapters later, I kind of just want to take a little break for the rest of the night. I'm pretty sure everybody can understand. Uh, almost 3 hours of reading is intense for anyone. Um, and like I said, I do my best to be fair to the situation and to acknowledge the different things that could possibly be taking place. But I also try not to take myself too far from the reality of what's real, because what's real is that Moses is told by the Most High, like, yo, bro, you're not going to go into the promised land. What's real is that the Most High God used a man to prophesy a blessing for Israel. This same man spoke death on himself, and I got to read about this man getting touched. Come on. The dude who was doing the prophesying, he wasn't just a nobody. So this is why we need to realize that most kings were warrior kings or priest kings back then. It was one or the other almost always. Sometimes both. So when you have a warrior king or you have a priest king, you just have to realize that the way that they apply themselves is going to be different, and just how they go about it is different. This is why Balak called this man out of nowhere. He didn't call him scrub, a commoner, right? He called a serious dude. Now, I know it's hard for people. Once again, this is thousands and thousands of years ago. So we're so far displaced, it's hard to imagine these things taking place. Yes, they literally killed all those men, and they took all their cattle, and they took the women, or they killed the women who had already been with men. They took all the virgin women. They took a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it's just when you really just look at the situation, and you really just try to understand what happened, it just tells you where we're at as a people. You know, this. I mean, once again, people tell me all the time about how blessed they are. I'm like, yo, these are folks who got to see miracles, real life miracles, and still found a way to betray the Most High God. Think about that. They still found a way to betray him. So if these people found a way to betray him and they're watching real life miracles happen, what makes me believe that people who I believe may have never seen a miracle, or may not have the ability to acknowledge that they've seen a miracle, why would I feel that they have been any less treacherous, or that they are any less treacherous to that degree to the people that we're reading about? And when people get off the high horse, I'm the first to tell you that I'm a sinner. I'm the first to tell you that I'm a messed up person. First to tell you that there's a lot of things that I read about in here, just the foolhardiness and just the stubbornness that I can understand, right? And I say, yeah, these people are just like me, or I'm just like them. And it makes me not upset, But it makes me look at the situation, appreciate it, and say, you know what, these are probably really my ancestors that I'm reading about. It's a good chance that I'm related to somebody that I've read about. It's it's difficult for me to accept anything other than what it is that's truth. I don't get to live in two different realities. I don't get to live in the reality where I'm a black man, but I'm also this or I'm also this. I'm just a nig. Whatever is in my bloodline is in my bloodline. But when you look at me, you see a nig. So when we go through the whole, well, people today, man, a lot of people are mixed meats, a lot of people are this and that. Okay, I understand all that. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that you can enjoy the fat of the land, right on, the fruit of the land, and still cry foul because every once in a while the world treats you wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's just like the so-called Israelis. Like they have control and dominion over a lot of things and cry anti-Semitism. You never read about that type of attitude in the Bible. These people are not whiner 49ers about how people talk about them. They just go and handle business. So the reason why I know that the Israelis are not Israelites is just basic little things like that. Obviously, they don't have really curly hair, right on. Obviously, they're just not nigs. I get that. But outside of those obvious things, there's other obvious things that people should pay attention to or should at least look at and give it uh, a little bit of thought and say, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense, Mitch. Because we're about to read the last book of the Pentateuch, of the Tanakh, of the Torah. We're 32 chapters away from having a complete story down as far as all that mattered at first and all that still really does matter, and totally be in a position where, in my humble opinion, I feel like I'm going to have put people in a position of power because for the first time in their lives, they'll be able to say, you know what, reading this, hearing this, going through what I'm going through, I'm probably not an Israelite. I'm probably a stranger. You know what I'm saying? Right? For the people who so badly don't want to be Israelites and probably realistically are, they fit all the molds and descriptions, right? This is a chance for them to really stand back and look and be like, you know what? I'm really not Nubian. I probably really am an Israelite. And they're gonna have to really this once again, I'm giving people the option to soul search without having to guilt trip themselves and without having to admit anything out loud. They'll have to admit it to themselves. This is the beautiful part of what I'm doing is that I'm going to relinquish the feeling of guilt. I'm going to extricate, I'm going to abdicate that from the entire situation. And when I do that, I'm going to have had done what once again I think is a yeoman's work. You know, no person was going to be able to say, Demetrius, there isn't a more clear understanding based on what you read, just based on how these people conduct themselves, right? They have far more comparable ways and behavior patterns that are similar or parallel to Afro Black people than to any other group on this entire earth. And so I'm compelled to believe that these are Afro Black people and no other people. Now, having said that, I could give in to the idea that during the days of the Messiah, there were a few pigskin people running around, but even during that time, I have a hard time believing that there was as many as they claim because they would have a lot more numbers. There would be many more of them, you know. Uh, but they hate one another, and they profess at killing one another better than anything else. So how could a group of people who hate one another and are constantly warring with one another have time to grow? This is why the Israelites had time to grow because they weren't constantly warring with all the nations round about. And the Most High God, as once again, they are hostile invaders. This is a hostile takeover, the violent way. So you can understand why the Most High God has to punish the people the way he does. He's like, do you know how much blood y'all shed? Do you know what y'all did to get here, to be in the position that you're in, just for you to profane my holy name? No, it's just disrespect. And black people have to learn some self-respect. They have to learn some self-discipline, and they don't have any. And you know, I heard a very, 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 very funny thing. It wasn't very informative, but it was very it caught my attention. And someone was speaking about how how they would rather pay a church to do something than not. And what it speaks to me is that at the end of the day, they know, I know, we all know that black people's hearts, even the 2/3 who have to go, they would rather know the Most High God than not know Him. The problem is that they don't want to give up the life that they're living to know Him. That's what it boils down to, y'all. That's what it comes down to. Is that they want to know Him. For what you would have to sacrifice to know Him is too far great of a sacrifice to give up. For them to die and potentially, in their mind, there be no God. And that is the showing of the lack of faith that they have. So we really, it's a blessing. We just get to learn so much about everyone. My brothers and sisters, before I roll out, this has been the greatest thing I've ever done. Period. There will be no project that I could. I mean, I would have to lead people out of America, right on, to do something greater than this, than what I'm doing right now. No greater thing could I do. Uh, they can't repair us and make us whole with money with the faces of those who are known oppressors on it. Right on? That's just not going to work. With knowing that there's blood that must be avenged, it just won't work. Biblically speaking, they owe you everything. They owe us everything. They owe us all, and they know it. It has been a wonderful, wonderful time. I've had a blast. I've had a blast. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate every modicum, iota, scintilla of the time that you give me. It's getting late. Some of you have things to do. You have lives to live. And with that said, I salute you, brothers and sisters. You know I do. Spiritual Gumbo, out.